G'day mate, Simon, VA7BIX. Welcome back for episode 2. Woohoo! Alright, today's episode, we're actually going to get the radio set up. We're going to spot ourselves on the POTA page. We're going to start calling CQ and see if we can make some contacts and log and all that sort of fun stuff. Alright guys, let's get on with the show. When you're doing this for the very first time, don't be afraid. The hams are your friends. They're thrilled that you're out there playing radio in a park, having a go at this. So you can take your time. It's just a wonderful community. The guys are there to help you. And between that and the Discord, so then when you actually get out and start activating, you can go to the Discord with any questions and say, hey guys, how do you suggest I handle a pileup? Because there were so many stations shouting at me. I didn't know how to pick out call signs. All of those are fantastic, valid questions. Knowing how to spot yourself on a park if your internet is questionable. Knowing that, okay, I've just got to make one contact and perhaps that first contact ham can help me and he can spot you on the POTA page. And that has happened to me umpteen times, dozens of times in fact, where a very kind ham has said, hey, I don't see you spotted on the POTA page, can I do it? Or I just politely ask, excuse me, would you mind spotting me on the POTA page? I have no internet service. We're going to paper log today, which I suggest you guys do when you're starting out, because the last thing you want to be doing is fiddling around with a laptop. And the reason why I've suggested HAMRS is because it's free. And it's good for after the fact that you can then go in and retroactively put all your call signs in that you worked, all the stations you worked, and do it that way. The program I use is N3FJP AC log, but that's $50, but if you get it for a lifetime. But what's great about AC log is it caches all of the call signs. So you can see in real time how many times you've worked this station, that station, and so on. And you don't need to be online, but it's not free. There we are. So these Anderson poles are great, right? So that's coming out of the radio. There are the fuses. I've got spare fuses. And here's the Anderson pole coming out of the battery. It can't go in that way. It just physically can't. There we go, bang. All right, guys, so now we're here. First thing we're going to do is look at the local time. And right now it's 1:20. So we're going to set the time. We're going to do date and time. It's 20:20. So we're going to go down here, change that to 20, and then we're going to go here to 20:20. So then I can, when I'm logging, set, bang, there we go. At the very top there, there's the UTC time. Just makes it way easier when you're activating, guys, that you can just look at the top of your screen and you know that it's 20:20. 1-to-1 SWR, look at that. So the other thing too, guys, is you always want to tune, you always want to check your SWR and AM, not RTTY. And the reason for that is RTTY is potentially at 100 watts, and that's not good. You don't want to be tuning your antenna at 100 watts, whereas if you go to AM, it drops the power down. We want most bang for our buck because we want to make contacts. We don't necessarily have a lot of time, and we want to go where you most likely will make contacts and be heard, and that is 20 meters. So we've made the decision, we're going to work 20 meters. So then what's the next thing to do? All right, the next thing to do is find a frequency. Now, as a POTA guy, we tend to stick towards the higher end of the band. So the top end of the band, because we're on upper sideband, is 14.350. But because our bandwidth is 3 kilohertz, really the top of the band is 14.347, not 350. You never want to transmit on 350. 347 is basically the top of the band. So I typically like to operate sort of between 318 to 14.342. And then guys get to know, typically, oh, Simon's out. We generally know where to find him. He's sort of in, you know, the top range, the higher range of the band. So I'm going to go here to 14328. There's a very strong station at 14332. So I'm going to go above there. I'm going to go to 14339. 14339. So the next thing I'll do is, okay, this is critical, guys. Is this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray. Is this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray. The next assumption is going to be that you brought your phone to the park. So we're going to go to POTA.app. I'll put that. POTA.app is the URL. And we're going to have a look on the POTA page. And you need to sign in. So to sign up, all you typically can use is you just put your email address. I use my Facebook account, and basically I just continue with Facebook. And then there we are, VA7BIX. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go and have a look at the spots on 20 meters. And what I do is go sort by frequency. I'm going to scroll down to the very top. Lots of guys on, 14336, 14340, 343. There's no one around 329. So we're going to go to is this frequency in use? This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray. So there's nobody between 14336 and 322. So 14329 looks like it's going to be a open spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to spot ourselves. We're going to put in 14329. The park reference, we know we're at VE5539, and comments. So for comments, you can put anything. Sometimes I put "G'day mates," but for this we'll call, we'll just put in CQ POTA. Okay, now we're spotted. I would strongly recommend, guys, as your first radio, if you want to get out there and play POTA, is get yourself an ICOM 7300 because it has a tuner, and provided you can get your antenna, your SWR under 3 to 1, you can tune it. And that's what I'm using with this alpha antenna, but it happens to be perfectly resonant on 20 meters. All right, so here we are. We know it's 2032. I'm just looking at the clock. And we're on frequency 14325. And we're going to start calling CQ POTA. CQ POTA, CQ POTA, CQ POTA. This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray at Park Victor Echo 5539. We're calling CQ POTA and standing by. CQ POTA, CQ POTA. This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray at Park Victor Echo 5539. We're calling CQ POTA and standing by. Another suggestion, guys, is I'd suggest you go out to the park when, right now there's a lot of solar flares going on. So it sometimes can be it can be a lot slower to make your contacts, but the good thing about that is as you're getting out, if you're pounding the East Coast thousands of miles away and you've got a massive pile up, that can actually be quite overwhelming. So having a bit of a slower activation is not necessarily a bad thing. All right, we might have to QSY. So what's happened now, we've got a couple of big, strong stations that have started up right beside us, and that's called QRM. And when QRM happens, sometimes it's just easier to Is this frequency in use? This is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray. All right, we're going to 347. So I've just re-spotted myself. CQ POTA, this is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray at Park Victor Echo 5539. We're calling CQ POTA and standing by.
Alpha Delta 6 Victor Tango.
Alpha Delta 6 Victor Tango. You are a 5757, my friend, into British Columbia, QSL.
QSL, Simon, thanks for the 57. Thanks for the 57. You're about a 52 in Bishop, California.
If you start getting a lot of stations calling you at once, what I would suggest you do is always listen for the suffix. Because if you say, oh, the station, the Kilo 6 station, there could be 5 of them because that's all of California, right? So I would say, oh, the station heading in Tango or Victor Whiskey or X-ray, go ahead. And then it might narrow it down to 1 and 2. So that sort of really helps me a lot.
Kilo Juliet 6, Uniform Mike Hotel.
Okay, station heading in Hotel. Go ahead, buddy.
Kilo Juliet 6, Uniform Mike Hotel.
So we've got 3 contacts. Bands are pretty ordinary, but it's nice and slow, and here we are.
5, Uniform Delta. Yeah, you're coming in at 55, 50 Echo, man.
Victor Alpha 7, Bravo India X-ray, QRZ.
Whiskey 6 Golf Tango Lima.
Whiskey 6 Golf Tango Lima 5959 QSL.
Copy the 59. You're also 59, Orange County, California. Thanks for the activation.
The other thing too, guys, is the bands can change so quickly when you're out at the park. So just because you're not necessarily hearing stations blowing up your radio, that can change in a flash.
Whiskey Alpha 4, Whiskey Papa Golf.
Whiskey Alpha 4, Whiskey Papa Golf. I've got you 5454 QSL.
QSL, got you 56 Virginia.
East Coast. Roger, Roger. Thanks for the 56 Virginia, my friend. Have a great day, buddy, and 73.
73, my friend. Have a good one.
Roger, Roger. You too, buddy. So guys, you're probably asking, well, you're saying that guy was a 5.4, not a 5.9. So I go by ear. When a station is really loud, I don't even look at the S meter. You can, but I go by very readable is 5.9. I'm cheating now just so I can chat to you. I'm pressing the CQ button. If you've got that on your radio, it's a great feature. I can tell you for calling CQ POTA, and then you can continue to chat. So when a station is a very, very loud, like he's sitting on the park bench with you, like being on a telephone, that's 5.9 plus, you might say, or 5.9. When a station is very strong and readable, but a little bit of static, 5.6, 5.7, a little weaker, 5.3, and then a fair bit of static, 5.1, as they get weaker with what you call QSB, which is the fading of due to the propagation in the atmospherics. You start getting into the 4s, and then
Kilo Quebec 4 Alpha Whiskey Foxtrot. QSL on the 5.3. I'm going to send you back 4.5 from Virginia.
So she gave me a 4.5 back, and there's a great video that Dave Kassler did. And basically somebody asked the question, is propagation reciprocal? And the definitive answer is no. We're receiving her stronger than she's receiving me.
Kilo Alpha 6, November Papa Delta.
QSL 5-4 both ways.
So when you do a park-to-park, guys, here's some really valuable intel. Thanks to Charlie, you don't need to log their park numbers because they automatically offset. So when Kilo Oscar 4 Lima Fox Zulu submits his park, they'll cross-reference mine to his. So we'll both get the credit for park-to-park. And generally as a hierarchy, guys, if you hear a park-to-park, you typically want to take his call first, and just because he's activating, he's spent the time to come and work you as a park-to-park. Also, he's in a compromised situation because his antenna's in a park, not at home. His band can fade. And just generally as a rule of thumb, you take park to parks first. And then periodically, if you have a pile-up, you want to then say, okay, we're going to call all QRP stations. And QRP is low power. Basically, I'd consider it 10 watts and less, but I think a lot of the purists will say it's 5 watts and less. So any of the so sometimes, because the QRP guys generally get drowned out compared to the guys running 100 watts. So you want to maybe say, okay, all the QRP stations. But because we don't have a pile-up today, we don't have to worry about it generally. We've almost got 10 contacts here.
Just 5, Whiskey Charlie.
Okay, station ending in Whiskey Charlie. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got 5555 into Texas from November 5, Whiskey Charlie, over. USL, thank you very much for the contact in 73.
73 to you, my friend. Have a wonderful day. Another thing that I would like to mention is when there is a pile up, guys, what I typically do so there's no confusion is I will say Victor Alpha 7, Bravo Indy X-ray, QRZ. And I like to sound a little animated because the hunters like that. The hunters are the hams at the other end waiting to speak to you. When you sound a little animated, they like, oh, it creates a little bit of a nice sort of energy and vibe. Because let's face it, it is happy times out here. We're out playing radio, and it's the greatest. Being a little animated is great, but putting a call sign and then QRZ, and then the hunters will know. So if you go QRZ, this is Victor Alpha 7, Bravo Indy X-ray, a lot of them, when they hear QRZ, will be pressing their transmit button, and you'll miss most of their call signs. So Victor Alpha 7, Bravo Indy X-ray, QRZ. And then basically, then you would take your finger off the mic and then take the call signs. Just out of respect to all of the hams that are waiting in a pile-up. Let's say, for example, you're speaking to Joe in Wyoming, or Bill in somewhere in Timbuktu. As the QSO is winding up, often you'll start hearing guys throw their call sign. Now, I highly advise don't acknowledge them because it's not respectful to the guys that are patiently waiting. It'll make the other hunters, the hams, stick around knowing that people can't typically push into your pile-up. So that's just a bit of housekeeping.
Kilowatt 9, Whiskey Zulu Bravo.
Roger, roger. Thanks for the 5-5 into California, mate. Have a wonderful day in 7-3. Yeah, so I learned that from Greg, and it's just a good, it's just a good thing to do because it's like, it's just respect for all of the community, and then the guys will tend to stick around your pile up longer and patiently wait.
Hey guys, well thanks for watching episode 2. We touched on some of the nuances of activating, as well as calling QRZ, dealing with a pile up, all of that sort of fun stuff. So if you like that, guys, stick around for volume 3 coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Woohoo!